He's white,
straight white men.
He's Elon Musk. He's American, African American. He's Elon Musk. He makes lip speech. He's pro free speech. He's Elon Musk. They're all so triggered. He now owns Twitter. He's Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Welcome to the Beau Show. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to the end of this episode for a very special announcement about a great deal that you can get with Epoch TV. As my introductory song indicates, I am paying homage to the world's richest man, Elon Musk, who put only a small dent in his fortune when he became the proud new owner of Twitter. For the price of $44 billion, Musk purchased the social media site with the purpose of unlocking its potential, with free speech as the guide. Twitter, up until this purchase, had been a bastion of suppressed speech, with shadowy algorithms that promoted some content and demoted others. This purchase is quite significant, not just because of the overvalued price that Musk paid, but also because some shareholders, like a Saudi prince, expressed great resistance to the purchase. Even the prospect of the purchase sent shockwaves through the media and liberals everywhere, who became worried how Twitter would operate if the transaction went through. And this should strike you as odd, because why would people be so worried about Twitter? I mean, they kicked Trump off the platform, so is it Trump's return they're so worried about? Or is it the suppression that may now come to light? Or do they just not want free speech? And how did the New York Times and other outlets amass 50 million followers but rarely get retweeted? That's a question that Dave Rubin has been asking. I think we all hope that Musk will not just make these changes that free speech advocates have been wanting to see for a long time now, but also unearth and reveal whatever shady methods Twitter had been using to suppress voices and bolster the reach and influence of others. So what I want to focus on today is not the actual purchase of Twitter, we all know about that, which is certainly significant, but how various people and outlets responded to it and why they responded to it. It may tell us why they are so unhinged and apoplectic. When Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post, no outlet seemed to bat an eye. It was even celebrated in Business Insider as some sort of cultural moment. Rich white guy buys the Wash Po. So what about rich white guy, well, actually African and Canadian American, buys Twitter? Why the meltdown? How did Bezos get one treatment and Musk get another? The Washington Post, after all, may see some blowback from the Amber Heard op-ed that she published if it turns out that she was a liar in this whole Johnny Depp defamation trial. But Musk publicly has talked about his interest in Twitter and why he thinks he can unlock its potential by becoming the free speech digital town hall it is designed to be. For years now, though, we have seen Twitter take actions that defy reason and logic and seem hyper-partisan. Let's first talk about Twitter internally itself, which had an all-hands-on-deck meeting about the purchase. It seems that Twitter's legal policy and trust lead, Vijaya Gadde, cried at the meeting about Musk purchasing the social media company. This is the same person that gaslit the world over the Joe Rogan Spotify controversy. It was also Gadde's decision to suspend the New York Post story about Hunter Biden's laptop. Recall that about 17% of Biden voters say that they would not have voted for Joe Biden if they had known about this story, which means that Twitter, through this one individual, was directly responsible for election interference. As this topic was being discussed on Tuesday on Twitter under Musk's new leadership, he tweeted, "Suspending the Twitter account of a major news organization for publishing a truthful story was obviously incredibly inappropriate." Musk is onto this. This is the thing that liberals feared, that the Twitter internal minions would be caught red-handed. We know now, in just one single day with new leadership, that Twitter's minion, Vijaya Gadde, not only blew up the Spotify controversy with Joe Rogan, which was obviously a free speech issue, but also directly interfered in the 2020 election by suspending a bombshell press story about a public individual that has been proven to be absolutely true. Unlike the myriad of other stories, the BS stories that they have allowed on Twitter without any verification, sourcing, or veracity. Remember that Trump's re-election campaign Twitter account was also suspended 19 days before the 2020 election due to the fact that they retweeted the New York Post Hunter Biden story. Do you see now why liberals are melting down? They're being found out. They tried and they were successful at rigging an election by falsification and suppression of information. Many at Twitter look up to Gadde as some sort of inspirational leader, but she has been a maven of bias, and unabashedly so. So she cried in this virtual meeting, "Sorry, Vijaya, your days of secretive moderation may be over." He should fire her. And let's get insight into the logic of the meltdown. Jessica Gonzalez, co-CEO of the progressive tech advocacy group Free Press, said Musk has, quote, used the platform to attack people, often launching childish broadsides against anyone he doesn't like or agree with. And he's regularly rallied a Twitter mob of loyal fans to follow his lead with more vicious threats and bullying. Okay. Well, what do you call what Hillary Clinton did? Or even Biden himself? You see, the criticism is always riddled with bias, and it never acknowledges the purpose of free speech, which is to have a forum where people disagree. So now let's go over to the brain cell challenged people at MSNBC for their take. For example, Ari Melber, who has a show called The Beat. Here's his take.
You own all of Twitter or Facebook or what have you. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to be transparent. You could secretly ban one party's candidate or all of its candidates, all of its nominees, or you could just secretly turn down the reach of their stuff and turn up the reach of something else, and the rest of us might not even find out about it till after the election. Elon Musk says this is all to help people because he is just a free speech, philosophically clear, open-minded helper.
He is literally making the very point that free speech advocates and conservatives have been making from the very beginning. That Twitter, as a private company, hides behind its private company status, where it secretly decides to ban candidates. Hello, Donald Trump, and promotes other candidates. Hello, Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. When Melber says, and the rest of us might not find out about it till after the election, well, I don't know if Ari or his staff read it all or research anything, but that's exactly what I laid out for you earlier, speaking about Vijaya Gadde, who deliberately suspended the New York Post and the Trump campaign Twitter page for posting the Hunter Biden true laptop story. I mean, is Ari Melber naive or is he just that dumb? I'm not sure. But he clearly fears what Musk will do, meaning he fears that candidates might actually be treated equally. And how about this? Vox and Rico did a survey of employee donations to midterm candidates by party in this chart. Take a look. Do you see Twitter on there? See it? 98.7% of Twitter employee donations went to Democrats. So when you hear liberals complain that Elon Musk could undermine ideological diversity and inclusion, never forget this image. You see it right there. Almost 99% went to Democrats. That is what you would call unanimous ideology. Everything the left says about what this new version of Twitter might do all comes from a place of fear that they have been revealed and that they cannot control the narrative anymore, at least perhaps not on Twitter. Now, former President Barack Obama recently stated that while content moderation can limit the distribution of clearly dangerous content, it doesn't go far enough. There you have it. He's not a free speech absolutist at all. So I hope that I've painted the picture for you all why leftists fear Musk's purchase of Twitter. They see unrestricted free speech as a problem because it opens up more information that might hurt them, might hurt their feelings and their chances at power. The gaslight for them is to paint Elon Musk as a straight, white, apartheid-loving male who only wants similar people in this new club of Twitter. This could not be further from the truth. He has spoken at TED conferences at great length about it. But this man has taken several companies, Tesla, SpaceX, and the Boring Company, and made them paradigms of human creativity and innovation. SpaceX pushes our exploration of space. Tesla pushes our innovation of the automobile. And the Boring Company may make mass transit faster and more efficient. All of these are great things. But Musk buying Twitter sends leftists into such a tizzy that they make claims about him as having a bloodthirst for racism, misogyny, and bigotry. What I really want to know is how he will handle what we have heretofore called misinformation on things like elections and COVID. Because Musk at one time was a big vaccine proponent, and a lot of information that is damaging about vaccines did not reach people. I'm very curious to see how Twitter handles those types of free speech discussions. You all remember how quickly Facebook and Twitter would shut down anything that it considered to be misinformation on the pandemic. How new Twitter handles that will be quite telling. I remain optimistic. I really hope Musk makes Twitter how he envisions it. It may not be without hiccups, but the sheer uproar and fury that many have raised is far more telling about the left's view of free speech than it is about Musk's. But it's good that we hear it. Because remember that stupidity is still a right. Twitter can be that great forum where you show all of us how neuron challenged you are. Finally tonight, because it is Epoch TV's 1-year anniversary, we are offering you 50% off on Epoch TV subscriptions through May 9th. So when you click on my show online, make sure that you click on the link to Epoch TV. Because remember this, if you're watching me on YouTube, you're only seeing about the first 10 minutes of my show. So you're missing out on about 2/3 of the information, which is very important information. And I do mean a lot of information. So go over to Epoch TV, subscribe now to get 50% off to celebrate Epoch TV's birthday. But only through May 9th. I'm Beau, and that's the show.